Northwest early?
Well, it's been real nice. It's a good little old track here, Evergreen Speedway, and kind of reminds me of Birmingham, where we used to race on and off a little bit back in the 80s. So we kind of fell right in. Mike Beam and all the boys had the car set up real good, and we've had a good time out here. It's pretty country, been fishing, doing all this stuff.
That was the only time a Chevrolet had won. All the other races a Ford has won, so it's kind of like you can't beat them, join them.
Geoff went on the other day, where's your big race in the West Coast? And I said, this is it. This is this place. If you get known here, you're known all over the world.
Be careful. Be careful. It's a long, long race. Marathon, endurance race. A lot of laps, a lot of time to get from 21st to 1st, so we're going to try to be careful.
From the Evergreen Speedway in Monroe, Washington, it's the Motorcraft 500. Hello, everyone. I'm Larry Miner, along with Scott Ellsworth, and we get set to go racing on the 5/8 Oval. This is stop number 6 in the NASCAR Winston West Series, with Mike Chase leading in the point standings, followed closely by California's Bill Schmidt and last year's Motorcraft 500 winner, Bill Sedgwick. It's been a very busy weekend indeed here at the Evergreen Speedway, with the NASCAR Northwest Tour taking center stage on Saturday night, what turned out to be possibly their best race so far in 1991. Points leader Monty English continues to be the most consistent driver on the tour. Last night would belong to two-time Northwest Tour champion Ron Eaton, grabbed the lead late and held off the rest of the field for his second consecutive Northwest Tour win. And another two-time Tour champion, Garrett Evans, would finish in the runner-up spot. When we come back to Monroe, we'll take a look at some of the drivers in the Motorcraft 500, both past and present, as our coverage of this prestigious NASCAR event continues from the Evergreen Speedway in Monroe, Washington.
Why take chances with safety? Be prepared with Paramedic First Aid. 101 first aid items in one convenient package. Cleansing pads, an antiseptic towelette, antibacterial cream, a complete assortment of bandages, tape, scissors, tweezers, an instant cold compress, and a handy first aid chart. Order now and receive a second kit absolutely free. And this one goes everywhere you do. Workshop, car, hiking, boating, fishing, even in your toolkit. Order right now, and we'll also include this incredible coupon, which guarantees free replacement of any item you use for up to 1 full year.
Order your Paramedic First Aid Kit now. Receive a coupon good for 1 full year for free replacements of any item in the kit. Plus, you'll receive a second kit free. Call now or send $19.95 plus $5.95 for shipping and handling to the address on your screen.
Big-time NASCAR racing hits the track.
August 2nd and 3rd at
the Southtown Speedway.
Escartburg, Allman Motors, and Bud Light present
the Allman Motors 2 NASCAR Winston West.
It all starts Friday with qualifying, plus the Bomber, the Charger, the bumper car.
Then Saturday at 7:30 p.m.
History will be made.
As you'll see, for the first time ever, the 3,500-pound NASCAR Giant.
Burn up the track in 200 laps.
Featuring the West Coast's hottest drivers.
Taking on the Northwest toughest oval.
Advanced seats available now. The Allman Motors 200 at the Southtown Speedway.
Race fans, NASCAR Winston Racing continues. These are races you don't want to miss. Winston West Series, August 3rd, Southtown Speedway 200. October 13th, Bakersfield Mesa Marin 400. November 3rd, Phoenix, Arizona 500. Plus, Northwest Tour, August 10th, Portland 150. August 17th, Evergreen Speedway 100. August 31st, West Richland 150. Follow your favorite races. Call Journey Travel today. The fastest tickets in the West.
Back here at the Evergreen Speedway in Monroe as we get set for the Motorcraft 500. Now, when this event first began back in 1985, it was known as the Winston Washington 500. And our very first winner at the Evergreen Speedway, Derek Cope from Spanaway, who went on to later win the Daytona 500 just a couple of seasons ago, as Derek Cope now racing with the Winston Cup drivers. Also, Chad Little won it in 1986 when it was known as the Peterbilt Washington 500. Bill Elliott won the first Motorcraft in 1987. Chad Little then won his second title in 1988 and followed it up with a repeat performance in 1989, the Motorcraft 500 winner.
The 1990 Motorcraft 500 winner was Bill Sedgwick. I'm Larry Miner, along with Scott Ellsworth, and my broadcast partner had an opportunity in the garage area yesterday to talk to the returning Winston West champion, Bill Schmidt.
Well, we are here now with Bill Schmidt. Of course, we just finished talking with Mike Reichert, his crew chief, and Bill, he said that you're going to be looking at about 8 pit stops tomorrow.
Well, I think we'll have all of that, and we'll take advantage of every yellow that we can, and I'm sure that after the race gets lined out here that there'll be quite a few green flag stops as well. And if we're fortunate enough to be leading, we'll be part of the ones that'll probably bring the others in, and if we're not, we'll just follow the rest of them in when they're pitting.
For the Winston West guys, this basically is your biggest race of the 1991 season.
Yeah, in fact, it was kind of ironic. Geoff went on the other day and said, where is your big race in the West Coast? And I said, this is it. This is the place. If you get known here, you're known all over the world.
Coming out of Redding, California, last year's champion in the Winston West Series, going right down to Phoenix, winning it by 1 point. Pit stop at the end of the race made the big difference. Of course, tomorrow, being the halfway point of this 1991 season, you and Mike Chase and Bill Sedgwick once again are all going at it tooth and tongue, or whatever they want to say.
Well, it's kind of ironic that it come out like this again, and it seems like virtually the same thing has happened to me this year that it did last year. The first 2 races were kind of a disaster. We had a crash here, the first race, and then the next one we had a little problem in, but we've been pretty fortunate the last few races to get back up on top. We've won a race, and Mike's doing real good. He's staying right up there on top. He's going to be the tough one to beat, and so is Bill. And it looks to me like if it keeps going like this, we'll be right back at Phoenix again trying to do the same thing.
Of course, you guys will be at South Sound Speedway in just a few weeks up the road on that little 3/8 mile. Putting those big cars on that track, that's going to be really something to watch.
Well, I'm kind of looking forward to it. It's been quite a few years since I've been at South Sound, and I was stopped by there the other day on our way up here, and they've done a terrific job at fixing a lot of things up around there. It looks real neat. You're right, it's still a short track, but it seems like that when you get these big cars on these short tracks, you know, you start, I don't know whether the track gets bigger or the cars get littler, but something happens to them anyway.
Of course, this year, making the major move from Chevrolet to Ford. Of course, that's because of the Junior Johnson affiliation. He went to Ford's, and you just basically had to move. Mike was telling us, your crew chief, that maybe we're showing that it's not the car, that it's the driver.
Well, I don't know. The Fords have really done us some good this year. They've really treated us well, and I'm really proud to be associated with it this year. I just wish that it came along about 20 years ago, but no, it's really been a neat deal, and we're not knocking the rest of the products, but I like what I've got now.
And in qualifying on Friday, Geoff Bodine set a new track record, but it came in a little bit light.
He most certainly did, which relegated him to qualifying on second day. He was the fastest on the second day, and of course he will start 21st on the field. And we had a chance to talk to him this morning before he climbed into the car. Is this your first trip out to the Northwest?
Oh, I've been in the Northwest. I've never been here at Evergreen Speedway, but it's beautiful out here. It really is.
Starting 21st on the field this afternoon, what are you going to have to do to win it? The inevitable question.
Be careful, be careful. It's a long, long race. Marathon, endurance race, a lot of laps, a lot of time to get from 21st to 1st, so we're going to try to be careful, avoid any accidents if they're out there, and just work our way up front. Should be a very good race, though.
Of course, I'm from back east, watched you for many years, driving the modifieds around with Charlene and all those guys. This is a big step up for you, and do you think every now and then you want to go back and ride some of those modifieds?
Yeah, I ran them for a lot of years, had a lot of fun, won a lot of races, but now I'm pretty busy here, and Junior Johnson and Budweiser, I don't believe they let me run one of the modifieds, those open-wheel cars anymore. They seem going through the air every once in a while, so I think we're going to stay behind this Budweiser Thunderbird and let those other fellows run those open-wheel cars. But it was a lot of fun. I do miss it. It was probably the best time of my career.
How involved are you with Todd and Brett's program?
Well, you know, they're big boys. They've grown up. Of course, we follow them and try to help them all we can. Brett's pretty much established himself now, so there's nothing for me to do there. But we're both trying to help Todd. He has a lot of talent, a lot of ability. We won a Busch race this year. He's a sponsor, but other than that, he's pretty much on his own. He just is a natural race driver, and we're real proud of him.
Well, for any of you Northwest sponsorites, Todd's looking for one. Geoff, thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Scott also had an opportunity to talk with Chad Little just a few moments ago.
We're here with Chad Little from Spokane, Washington. Chad, you're 3 times winner of this event, and of course you're coming off your best qualifying session of the Pepsi 400 in Daytona. Well, how do you feel here today?
Oh, it's real good. The car's been working well. It's been staying real low on the racetrack, which is how I like it, and it's how this track always seems to require cars to work if you're going to run up front all day long. And you know, it'll come down to really how the tires work on the cars. The tires aren't very good for this race. You know, they're an economy tire. They're a little cheaper, but they just go away real quick. So I think that in the long run, it's going to, you know, the person who you might see take off on a new set of tires isn't going to be the person who's going to be the fastest in 50 laps, and it's going to come down to that. But I think the Red Baron Thunderbird could easily be in winner's circle today.
3 times the winner here. You really got this track wired in. Is this one of your favorite places to come and race?
Well, you know, it's just nice to come back and see all my family and friends, and you know, Red Baron Pizza people, they're really good to me, and the promoters of the track, Mickey Beadle, they're good people to work with, and it's just a lot of fun to come back. A lot of much pressure is involved back east.
Speaking of back east, you're going to stay with the team, of course, this year. Is everything set up for next year, or are we going to keep seeing Chad Little run with the Winston Cup?
Yeah, well, of course we will, and I'll be driving the Tyson Foods car for 1992, and everything's looking really good.
Great, Chad, thanks.
Well, Larry, as you just heard, that is some great news. We just heard that Chad Little has arrived for 1992 on the Winston Cup circuit. It's going to be the Tyson Foods Ford Thunderbird back east, and it's great to see one of our West Coast drivers doing very, very well.
So that will likely be the sponsor on the car next year when he returns trying to win yet another Motorcraft 500. Already has 3 under his belt. Now we'll look at the starting grid for today's Motorcraft 500 from the Evergreen Speedway. From row number 18, Chuck Welch, the Sacramento Coca-Cola Buick. He's from Vacaville, California.
Of course, Chuck Welch, normally the crew chief for the Jack Sellers automobile, today getting a chance to drive himself in that Coca-Cola Buick Regal.
In the wholesale truck parts Oldsmobile, car number 68, Larry Gaylord from Vancouver, Washington.
Well, of course, that's also the Dare to Be drug-free Olds Cutlass, and Larry likes to take that around to the schools throughout the Northwest, and we're glad to see him do it.
Inside row number 17, the Krebs Racing Pontiac Grand Prix of Dave Gegenbach drives car number 96. He's from Grass Valley, California. In row number 16, it's the Espresso Brake car 27, Gary Scott of Bothell.
And you also might see Gary Scott someday drive a GTO GTU car in the IMSA circuit.
And inside that row, the St. James Racing Buick Regal of St. James Davis, West Covina, California.
And, of course, St. James trains monkeys during the weekday for the movies.
Up to row number 15, starting on the outside in the grid, the Braceland and Yeager Brandon Ford Thunderbird of Robert Sprague from North Bend, Oregon. And inside row number 15, it is Mike French of Victoria driving the French Racing Oldsmobile Delta. Up to row number 14, on the outside in the grid, the Pace Trans Chevrolet Monte Carlo, it's Brad Kidrick of Yakima, Washington.
And it's always great to see Brad come over from the central Washington area. And Brad does very well here at the Motorcraft 500, always finishes in the top 10.
And on the inside shoulder, it's Bob Walker's Bayside Builders Pontiac Grand Prix. Row number 13 on the outside, Wayne Jack's car 97, the Southwest Paving and Grading Olds Delta from Las Vegas. And inside, Rick Scribner, car number 15, Orangeville, California, the All-Pro Auto Parts Chevrolet Lumina.
And he is the leading rookie candidate for this season on the Winston West circuit.
To row number 12, starting on the outside, the Taco Bell Buick of Billy Jack Shaw. He's from Minden, Nevada, car number 93. And inside row number 12, Jack Sellers, Sacramento, California. Dad's Root Beer, Coke Quaker State, the sponsor.
Always glad to see Jack come up from Sacramento. Always a fun time when he's in town.
Now to the number 22 position, John Dillon, the defending Northwest Tour champion in the Nendel's Inn Chevrolet Lumina from Boise, Idaho.
Only a second time in this car. Ran last week at Portland, Oregon. Had a little bit of a trouble. Hopefully today he's got those problems ironed out.
And qualifying in the number 21 position, even though he had a record-breaking time on Friday, Geoff Bodine of Chemung, New York, the Budweiser Ford Thunderbird inside that row 11. Up to row number 10, starting on the outside, position number 20. It is Larry Gunzelman from Bonnie Lake, Washington, in the Gunzelman Motorsports Pontiac Grand Prix. And 19th position, John Pax of Albuquerque, New Mexico, the Red Line Oil Pontiac Grand Prix.
Race fans, get ready to order. Tonight only we have 100 Bill Elliott Motorcraft 500 autograph sets. That's right, only 100 Racing Champion replicas and Motorcraft 500 race video sets will be sold. Don't miss your chance to own this Racing Champions collector's set. Call now and we'll send you this Bill Elliott Motorcraft 500 collector set for only $69.95. Here's how to order. Call 1-800-541-0186. Use your Visa, MasterCard, or American Express.
If they could see me now, out on a fun ship cruise, eating fancy food and doing what I choose, I'd like my friends back home to get a good look at the first race carnival cruise that I took. All I could
South Sound Speedway,
as Yardbird, Allman Motors, and Bud Light present
the Allman Motors 200 NASCAR Winston West.
It all starts Friday with qualifying, plus the Bomber, the Charger, the bumper car.
Then Saturday at 7:30 p.m.
History will be made.
As you'll see for the first time ever, the 3,500-pound NASCAR Giant.
Burn up the track in 200 laps.
Featuring the West Coast's hottest drivers.
Taking on the Northwest toughest old.
Advanced seats available now.
The Allman Motors 200
at the South Sound Speedway.
Welcome back to the Evergreen Speedway in Monroe, and here is the rest of the starting grid for today's Motorcraft 500. Starting 18th position, Jerry Bowers of Meridian, Idaho, in the NorCal Motorsports Ford Thunderbird.
Of course, Jerry's been competing over in Australia. It's glad to have him home.
And starting 17th, Herschel McGriff Jr. of Portland, Oregon, the U.S. Bank Pontiac Grand Prix.
63 years old. When will this guy ever quit? Probably never.
Starting 16th, Rick Corelli of Denver, Colorado, in the Chevron Chevrolet Lumina. And starting 15th is Glenn Stewart of Cameron Park, Washington. He's in the stick-only Buick Regal. Starting 14th, Butch Gilliland from Anaheim, California, in the Gear Engineering Pontiac Grand Prix. And starting 13th is Rick McRae from Highland, California, the McRae Racing Chevrolet Lumina. Starting in the outside position in row number 6, Mike Chase of Bakersfield, California, the Fry Miller Trucking.
And of course, we saw Mike last week drive the A.J. Foyt stock car at the Pepsi 400 at Daytona Beach, Florida.
Inside row number 6, Ron Esau of Lakeside, California. He's in the Gear Vendors Incorporated Chevrolet Lumina. Row number 5, Bob Howard from California in the Oldsmobile Motorsports Oldsmobile Cutlass. And starting 9th is John Krebs of Roseville, California, the Skoll Pontiac.
Always a good qualifier. Who knows? This could be his day.
Up to row number 4, Bill Schmidt, the defending Winston West champion, Reading, California, the Motorcraft Fast Ford Thunderbird.
Another longtime competitor here in the Winston West Series. Last year's champion, 54 years old.
And a two-time Northwest Tour champion, Ron Eaton of Tacoma. He's in the Lakes Body Shop Pontiac Grand Prix. Starting outside row number 3, Ron Hornaday Jr., of Palmdale, California, the National Cold Storage Chevrolet Lumina. Starting 5th is Bill Sedgwick of Van Nuys, Spears Manufacturing Chevrolet.
Last year's winner of this great event.
And starting 4th, Jim Bound of Portland, Oregon. He's in the Wholesale Truck Parts Chevrolet Lumina. And starting 3rd, Chad Little of Spokane, Washington, the Red Baron Pizza Scarf Ford Thunderbird. Up in the front row, Bill Elliott of Dawsonville, Georgia, the Motorcraft Ford Thunderbird. And on the pole with a new track record time, Sterling Marlin of Columbia, Tennessee, the Maxwell House Coffee Ford Thunderbird, 98.907 of speed, lap time 23.513. And there's your starting grid for today's Motorcraft 500 from the Evergreen Speedway in Monroe, Washington. There's the green, and we're underway. We've got trouble already in this one. Somebody up against the wall. That's our inboard camera. That's Mike Chase up against the wall, and he looks like he may have collected a couple of other cars. We're into caution on lap number 1.
Oh, my. As everybody goes into turn number 3 all together, something broke loose. Here we we see Mike Chase sitting there. We'll pick up the number on that other car as he sits sideways also on the track. Here's a replay of that. Mike Chase getting turned around. Not sure if he got turned around by himself or if he got tapped from the rear. Here he comes on around, and this is where he catches a big lick right here. There's one car. That looks like John Krebs. He goes along sideways. And wow, into the wall, and here comes another car and catches him right smack up the nose here. We'll see this coming right up here. It comes. That would be the number 60 car. Of course, he collects the front end. That's Larry Gunselman. Larry, first time out with that car here today. He's not going to go very long. But who knows? Maybe they'll be able to get some work done on that car and get it back out here this afternoon so he can gather up some points and maybe some money. Along with Mike Chase, of course, he's got a real problem right now. If he's out, he has the points lead. He may lose it here today.
Also, looks like Larry Gunzelman and Wayne Jacks are both involved in that mishap here on turn number 1 of the Motorcraft 500.
And let's take a look at that accident one more time. Full speed this time, and we're going to let you listen to it. Oh, my.
Evergreen Speedway, we're on lap number 1. We've got a yellow caution flag, and back in a moment.
Now from Videoland, 1991 NASCAR Winston Race videos. See all the excitement from your favorite races, like the Motorcraft 500 Race Weekend Highlight video featuring figure 8, midgets, and super stocks, Winston Northwest Tour, and the Winston West Motorcraft 500. Videoland has a race video for you. Order this week to receive a free race ticket, good for any 1991 race at South Sound Speedway in Olympia. To order, call Videoland at 206-491-1332. That's 206-491-1332.
If they could see me now, out on a friendship cruise, eating fancy food and doing what I choose, I'd like my...
I believe. I'm not sure. I saw him sitting right beside me, all bashed up, so I think he may have lost it behind me and spun right into me. There were cars ahead of me in the wall, and I tried to get down underneath him, and then I got tapped, and then he got hit real hard.
Any chance you'll be able to get it back out for some points and money?
Doesn't look too good. I haven't even taken a look at it yet, so we'll see what happens. We're going to do our best.
Your first Motorcraft 500, of course, not a great break here, but you're going to be running on the Winston West on a competitive basis week after week?
Well, I'm trying to do this out of my own pocket, and I'm just a heat and vent mechanic for Boeing, and it doesn't look good. It looks real bad. We don't have any sponsorship at all. We were out here on a shoestring and a prayer to get into this race, and it doesn't look real good for the rest of the year, but we're going to do our best we can, and we're hoping somebody will step up and give us some money so we can continue to run our operation and just do the best we can and come back strong as soon as we can afford to.
It's one of those cases of one of these idiots out here trying to win it on the first lap. You know, we run down the back straightaway and run down in the 3, and somebody, I don't know what car it was, hit me left for 4 pounds, spun me into the fence, backed me in the wall, and then 60 car come along there. It really wasn't his fault. It was his car. He just got up there and the loose stuff, and then he hit me head on. So we're out for the day. Tough break for the Fry Miller Trucking Buick. I think we had a really good chance to win this and continue on with the championship, but it really hurt our hopes now. But hey, the team will keep on digging. We'll be back.
So we are under caution for the first time of the day, the Motorcraft 500 here at Evergreen Speedway. With Mike Chase, Larry Gunzelman, and Wayne Jacks all involved in the mishap down in turn 3 and 4 on lap number 1, as we have been under caution now for 8 laps, and we're back underway with a green flag.
Green flag flies. Of course, that the first 9 laps going under yellow flag conditions. Sterling Marlin, your leader, followed by Chad Little, and Chad looks like he's going to try to take the lead away.
He takes a peek to the outside as they head into turn number 3. And then takes a look to the inside, and he's going to get underneath Sterling Marlin as he's almost door handle to door handle with Sterling Marlin, and he's going to reel him in, and he puts the nose in front.
Chad Little, 3-time winner here, showing his muscle right away as they head into turn number 3. Really only our second lap of green flag race.
No stranger to this track, the Evergreen Speedway in Monroe, where Chad Little has won 3 of the 500-lap events here, dating back to 1985 when they had the very first one. And right now he's showing the way for Sterling Marlin, full qualifier this week in his Budweiser Ford Thunderbird.
Of course, Chad just coming off one of his best qualifying sessions in a Winston Cup car this last week at the Pepsi 400 at Daytona Beach, Florida. Qualified 8th. Did not have good luck as the day progressed. Finished the race, but who knows? This gentleman, I think, is going to go a long way in Winston Cup racing.
Over the weekend, and it looked like we were going to maybe have some rain on this day of racing in the Motorcraft 500. All in all, it is just a beautiful day for racing. How will that wear on the drivers as we get into it a little bit later?
Well, definitely the heat will take its toll. We're not going to be real hot today as we have been in a few years past, working 90 to 100 degrees. We're going to get around 80 degrees today. The problem today, we've got to keep an eye on the tires. As the heat gets the asphalt warmed up, that's really going to start to take its toll on tires. We're going to see wholesale pit stops as the evening progresses here. We make that the afternoon. We're not quite the evening, but we will be racing into the evening as Chad Little still has the lead as they go into turn number 4.
So after the green flag, after our first caution flag with a mishap on lap number 1, Chad Little taking the lead away from Sterling Marlin. Watch out, we've got some action up against the wall down in turn 3 and 4 again early on here in the Motorcraft 500.
Number 18, the number 96 car, of course, that has the Dave Greenenbach from Grass Valley, California, and John Krebs. They are teammates. They got together over in turn number 3, our second yellow of the day, only on lap number 18.
Yesterday we had an opportunity in the garage area to have a few words with the defending Northwest Tour champion, John Dillon.
Well, we're here with John Dillon, of course, from Boise, Idaho, who last year won the Northwest Tour, has now come on over and is running with the Winston West Boys. He ran his first race just a couple of weeks ago in Portland. This is a big one for you. We're going from usually running 100 laps up to a big 500-lapper.
Yes, this is the longest we've ever ran. We've ran a couple 200-lap races and stuff, but this will be the longest for sure.
How is the car running?
We've got a lot to learn. This is only our second program ever in this car, and we're learning. We're going to be in the middle of the pack starting, but we're confident it's going to be consistent.
Here we are standing in the pit road, a gas can being dropped and catching on fire. A lot of action down there as the gas is on fire. As you can see, all the flame retardant being sprayed down. You can see the catch can right here. We are unable to get over there right now to see if there's anybody hurt. We don't think so. As we now see the smoke part, the number 14 car standing over there, that's Mike French's car. And what happened is that the catch can did catch on fire. The man threw the can. It ended up over here in the middle of pit road.
So for the second time on the afternoon, we're under caution flag here at the Motorcraft 500. And again, no injuries over there on the 14 car, the fire and Mike French. Back with more in a moment.
Can the Washington Huskies make a run for the Roses again this year? Will the Cougars be
Thursdays and Sundays on Prime Sports Northwest?
A couple of early caution flags here in the Motorcraft 500 at the Evergreen Speedway. As Chad Little is your leader, followed by Sterling Marlin, Bill Elliott, Jimmy Bound, and Geoff Bodine, who has moved up through the field as he started way back in the number 21 position.
Geoff Bodine moving well up through the field as we thought he would be doing. We're now back under green flag conditions. Hopefully we'll stay green flag for a while here. Of course, the front runners are very thankful for all these yellow flags, that they have not been in them, but we're getting great tire wear so far. We do see that Chad Little and Sterling Marlin are starting to break away from the rest of the field.
Well, Geoff Bodine starting all the way back in the number 21 position. All these early caution laps, that has really helped his cause early on here because he has been able to stay out of trouble.
Well, that of course is the truth, but what happened for those of you that may have just joined us, that on Friday qualifying, Geoff Bodine, very, very well, he qualified and broke the track record. As a matter of fact, he would have started second on the field with Sterling Marlin starting on the pole, and right on the outside would have been the number 11 Ford Thunderbird, but they weighed him in after qualifying. He was a little over 20 pounds shy of the weight he was supposed to be at.
And as Geoff Bodine said earlier today, with the interview with Gary Cressy, the track announcer here, he said, yep, we qualified Friday in the Bud Light. And again, he started back in the number 21 position. In time of 23.993 is his qualifying time, 96.928 miles per hour here on the 5/8 mile oval. Chad Little continues to show the way for Sterling Marlin.
Chad Little, of course, three-time winner of this event, seems to have everything under control at this point in the Red Baron Ford Thunderbird. Of course, we've been talking about Chad running back east now on a regular basis in the Winston Cup. We're seeing that difference show up every time he returns back home here to run in the Motorcraft 500. We're really glad to have him on board each year. Adds a lot to the show. Of course, he's from Spokane. We have a problem in turn number 1.
Here they come down the front stretch now as the pits are open. We'll be looking for pit stops this time by as it's getting time for people to start making some wholesale pit stops for right side tires and fuel. We do see the Bill Schmidt machine now coming down pit road along with Bill Elliott as they now dive down pit road. No, we see Schmidt stayed out. He faked. But here comes Elliott. He's now in. He's getting right side tires changed. And fuel going in. He'll be pulling back out in just a moment. The fast car on the track right now, though, as we have 45, make that 49 laps down, is number 11, the Budweiser Ford, Geoff Bodine, all the way from 21st to 6th.
Race fans, get ready to order. Tonight only we have 100 Bill Elliott Motorcraft 500 autograph sets. That's right, only 100 Racing Champion replicas and Motorcraft 500 race video set will be sold. Don't miss your chance to own this Racing Champions collector's set. Call now and we'll send you this Bill Elliott Motorcraft 500 collector set for only $69.95. Here's how to order. Call 1-800-541-0186. Use your Visa, MasterCard, or American Express. Now from Videoland, 1991 NASCAR Winston Race videos. See all the excitement from your favorite races, like the Motorcraft 500 Race Weekend Highlight video featuring figure eights, midgets, and super stocks, Winston Northwest Tour, and the Winston West Motorcraft 500. Videoland has a race video for you. Order this week to receive a free race ticket, good for any 1991 race at South Sound Speedway in Olympia. To order, call Videoland at 206-491-1332. That's 206-491-1332.
Back underway here in the Motorcraft 500, as we've had numerous caution flags early on in this one, as Chad Little in the Red Baron continues to show the way. Sterling Marlin holding on to that number 2 position.
And then, of course, we've got the number 9 of Bill Elliott. Then comes the Jim Baum, County Keeper Wholesale Truck Parts Chevrolet. Then we've got Bill Schmidt. Watch out for that gentleman. He knows his way around this 5/8 mile course very, very well.
So everybody anticipating quite a few pit stops here early today, or maybe not early, but they have been coming fast and furious in the pit stop early on.
Boy, I'll tell you what, if we keep going this way, we're not going to have any cars left by the time we get to the halfway point. Right now, the attrition is starting to take its toll, as we've already got about 5 cars out of the show at this time. Chad Little, though, still hangs on the lead and comes across the start finish line one more time.
Well, again, a very hot, sunny afternoon here in Monroe, Washington, where the cars continue to try to make their way through the field. As you mentioned, Scott, a number of cars already out of this race. As we've had numerous pit stops early on, and your leader continues to be Chad Little in car number 11.
The big problem right now is the number 9 of Bill Elliott. He's being hung out to dry. Jimmy Baum trying to get by him. Bill Schmidt and also Geoff Bodine trying to sneak on the inside. Got a battle now as they go down into turn number 3 one more time. It is Jimmy Baum on the inside. There he is, the number 9. The Motorcraft Ford Thunderbird hung out on the outside. Here comes Bill Schmidt and the Budweiser Ford Thunderbird right behind him. The Chevrolet amongst all those Ford Thunderbirds.
So door-to-door racing, once we finally get a few green flag laps underneath our belt, with the Red Baron car out in front of Chad Little, and then Sterling Marlin bringing up the number 2 position here on the bank 5/8 mile oval at Evergreen.
And just as we did the last time we went back to green flag racing, Chad Little and Sterling Marlin have broken away from the rest of the field. Now we see that Tim Baum has finally gotten out of that pack, that battle that was going on for first spot. He takes it away from Bill Elliott. Now battling with Elliott, of course, is Bill Schmidt. We see that he's gotten by along with the number 11 of, I think that's Geoff Bodine. Not used to calling Geoff being up front. He's really moving up to the field quite fast.
And again, we've got a spin down in the corner here, as it looks like the 27, looks like Gary Scott out of Bothell having a little bit of problems.
Steam coming off the front side of that automobile. We're under yellow flag conditions one more time.
went to the fight capital of the world and asked the fans, who's the greatest heavyweight ever?
By far, it's Muhammad Ali.
Earlier today, as he spoke about his new sponsor on his car next year.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, I'm really excited for this young man. This year, it got a little iffy for him. He got in with Tyson this year. Of course, he has been with the barbecue car for quite some time. And now, of course, Tyson Foods going to handle him throughout all of 1992. Just a little bit ago there, over in turn number 2, we saw a dust devil coming up. Hopefully that will not cause us any problems, and we do not need any more yellow flags.
It appears as though the wind is maybe kicking up just a little bit down there, as is the action out on the race course. As really the man on the move here early on in the Motorcraft 500 has been Geoff Bodine. Started all the way back 21. He's moved his way up.
Okay, and he's already right now in that 5th spot right behind Bill Schmidt. As still Sterling Marlin hangs on to that 2nd spot. And of course, Jimmy Bound, keep your eye on this gentleman. He had a great run back in Portland a couple of weeks ago. Got down 2 laps due to a flat tire early on in the race, and believe it or not, unlapped himself, okay? Now, that's not the whole story. Just a little while later, he also had another tire go down on him and got down 2 more laps again. And guess what? He got himself unlapped again, and just prior to the finish of the race, had a problem with some mechanical problem and had to go out of the race. Boy, I tell you, you want to talk about a car that was really flying around that half-mile oval down there in Portland. It was Jimmy Bound. So keep your eye on that gentleman. Of course, he's been back east lately. He's been running on the Busch Grand National Series. Brother to Chuck Bound, of course, the son of Dick Bound, and everybody knows about Dick. He's been a competitor on this series many years ago, and he has been pit crewing for the number 98 wholesale truck parts this weekend.
Well, right now, about a 5-car breakaway, as Chad Little continues to lead the way for Sterling Marlin. And Jim Bound running out of that number 3 spot. Then Bill Schmidt and Geoff Bodine rounding out the top 5. And this is giving chase back there in the 91. He's been having a lot of trouble with the car smoking early on, but he continues to run up front for those leaders.
Well, we noticed that early on that he was able to run right up front. Of course, that is Sprague make that Robert Sprague out of North Bend, Oregon. He joined the Winston West Circuit back a few years ago, and he's always a good competitor. Problem is that mechanical problems are plaguing him today. He's been in and out of the race. He's down many laps, but he's able to run right up there with the leaders. And it's too bad for him if he did not have those mechanical problems. Who knows? It might be a chance to take home for him in his first one on the Winston West Circuit.
One of the most dominant drivers so far in the Motorcraft 500 over the first 6 years of the event, Chad Little, who has won it 3 times, has a 2-car length advantage right now over Sterling Marlin in the Maxwell Coffee car number 22. And then back to Jim Bound as Geoff Bodine has moved up another position.
Oh, boy, I tell you, he is on the loud pedal. As he heads through turn number 3, setting up for turn number 4, he's gotten by Bill Schmidt. Now he's going to set his sights out for Jimmy Bound. Now, Bound, along with Marlin and your leader, Little, have broken away from that pack a little bit. We'll see if Bodine was being held up. Yes, it sure was. He was being held up by Schmidt at this time. Schmidt's just probably laying back right now. Also, I noticed back there the 04 of Herschel McGriff. He likes to start the race out a little slow at the beginning. And he'll come on later on in the race, likes to lay back, save those tires, and really come on strong at the last part of the race.
So Chad Little in the Red Baron running out in front for Sterling Marlin, and of course Sterling Marlin just a couple of positions ahead of his teammate Geoff Bodine in the Junior Johnson Ford. And those two coming out to the Pacific Northwest for the Motorcraft 500. Look who's on the inside.
Oh, he gets the inside groove going out of turn number 3, has to back out of it though, and now we go into turn number 1. Right on the tail of Jimmy Bound is the number 11 of Geoff Bodine. Geoff Bodine seems to get that car working very, very well. Down on the inside groove, there he goes. He dives down to the inside, gets door handle. As they go into turn number 3, Geoff Bodine, now your 3rd place car, as he sends the number 98 back to 4th, and that, of course, being Jimmy Bound.
So the Budweiser Ford has made a big move in a hurry in the early laps here on the Motorcraft 500. Started in position. Number 21 is all the way up to number 3 behind Sterling Marlin and Chad Little.
Oh, my. Yes, the scenery is very nice out here today. The number 11, Geoff Bodine, the man on the move. Started 21st on the field, has moved all the way up to the 3rd spot, as he is now right behind Sterling Marlin, his teammate. Of course, they're both running for Junior Johnson this year. And there's been a lot of speculation going on in the Junior Johnson farm system, I think. There's a lot of talk about the possibility of Bill Elliott moving in and taking Geoff Bodine's place, and Geoff Bodine moving on to another team. But, again, that is pure speculation on our part. That's the word that's been going around. Of course, it is extremely, at this point of the season, all rumor. And that's when the rumors start, about halfway through the season, where who's going to move to what team and so on and so forth.
Again, we've had 4 caution flags early on in this race, as St. James Davis now beginning to slow a little bit, as he looks like he's maybe having a little bit of problem with his race car, as Chad Little continues to lead the way for Sterling Marlin. In fact, on lap number 1, the first of 4 caution flags this afternoon, Mike Chase, Larry Gunzelman, and Wayne Jacks all involved in a mishap, and Mike Chase and Gunzelman were out of it earlier. Mike Chase, the points leader coming into this week's Motorcraft 500.
Oh, that's a tough break for him, too, because as I mentioned early on that he ran the A.J. Foyt car last week and had a problem going down the backstretch where he got into the wall, and when a tire went down, and of course he was driving the Copenhagen Ford. He's going to be driving that car at Talladega coming up in a couple of weeks, and he also mentioned to me earlier on that he would also be driving one more race this season, and maybe even at Phoenix. And I asked him, I said, well, Phoenix, of course, if you're in the points chase, will you still get points even though you would be in AJ's car? And he said, yes, it doesn't matter the car I'm in, it's the car, it's me that the points go with.
Not only tough luck for Mike Chase, tough luck for us, because the Fry Miller Buick had the onboard camera, which we got a couple of pretty good shots from early on, but only on lap 1.
Yeah, what an unlucky break that was. And we see Rick Scribner going down the lap as the leaders get by him. Of course, that's Chad Little, Sterling Marlin, and Geoff Bodine. Rick Scribner, right now, the leading candidate in the Winston West Rookie of the Year Challenge. Billy Jack Shaw right behind him. Larry Gunzelman, who went out early, and boy, that's an unlucky break. He was going to pretty much put himself out of that race. Tim McCauley, who's not here with us this weekend, along with Mark Moore. Also, I was just looking at the manufacturer's point standings right now. Buick, believe it or not, has 29 points with 3 wins this season on the series. Of course, Mike Chase, that was last week. Well, make that 2 weeks ago in Portland. And look at this, we got a challenge for second spot right now as the number 11 got up to the inside of Sterling Marlin, but he'll back off as Marlin shuts the door. Back to that manufacturer's challenge, as we also got the Fords in second spot now. A lot of Fords out here today, and there's a challenge for that second spot again, Larry, as they go out of turn number 2 down the backstretch.
Bodine taking a peek to the inside of Sterling Marlin, unable to put the move on him, and he will settle for a draft right behind the 2 lead cars, but not for long. He goes down on the inside of the racetrack again. Can he get Marlin?
Keep putting that front wheel off the inside of that turn number 4 track. Well, we don't like to see that, because every time they do, they kick up a little bit of debris up on the track, and they have problems with tires going down, and that's been a story here year after year.
The drivers talked about that and their concern, especially up in turn 3 and 4, where apparently a few more rocks on the surface, at least on that infield, and a few of the drivers a little bit concerned about that and their tire problems possibly here in the Motorcraft 500. It is the number 19 car, a 3-time Motorcraft 500 winner, Chad Little right now, leading Sterling Marlin, and Geoff Bodine as Winston Cup drivers right now, 1, 2, 3.
Boy, I'll tell you what, that is a Winston Cup show that you're seeing out there right now. Chad Little, of course, bringing his car out with him, along with Sterling Marlin and, of course, Geoff Bodine. They brought the crew, they brought the car, the hauler, the whole works. And boy, I'll tell you what, folks, right here, right now. And we've got a full house today, too. This is just fantastic. This race, I tell you what, folks, if you've not seen it, get your tickets now for next season, because it is going to be even bigger and better.
So a 4-car breakaway right now up front, as they have some slower traffic up in front of them. So the lead cars will be operating in and out of traffic here for the next few laps, as our coverage continues here on the Motorcraft 500 with Chad Little. Showing the way for Sterling Martin, Geoff Bodine right there.
And it looks like one of Butch Gilliland's crew members doing a lot of paperwork down there trying to keep up. And look at this, we're trying to put Bill Elliott down a lap. He just came out of the pits just a few moments ago, as he is one of those that got one of those rocks through a tire. As the tire got cut down on him, the leaders are now trying to put him down a lap.
It's been a rough first 100 laps or so here early on for the number 9 car. And, of course, that is Bill Elliott. You're listening to today's coverage of the Motorcraft 500 from Evergreen Speedway.
Honda City in Lake City. Pure unbridled, seat of the pants fun.
Best sets. That's right, only 100 Racing Champion replicas and Motorcraft 500 race video sets will be sold. Don't miss your chance to own this Racing Champions Collector's Set. Call now, and we'll send you this Bill Elliott Motorcraft 500 Collector's Set for only $69.95. Here's how to order. Call 1-800-541-0186. Use your Visa, MasterCard, or American Express. Now from Videoland, 1991 NASCAR Winston Race Videos. See all the excitement from your favorite races, like the Motorcraft 500 Race Weekend Highlight Video featuring figure eights, midgets, and super stocks, Winston Northwest Tour, and the Winston West Motorcraft 500. Videoland has a race video for you. Order this week to receive a free race ticket, good for any 1991 race at South Sound Speedway in Olympia. To order, call Videoland at 206-491-1332. That's 206-491-1332.
Back here at the Motorcraft 500 at the Evergreen Speedway. Not much happening up front with the lead. However, while we were away, we did have one lead change with the 11 of Geoff Bodine taking the lead. And let's go back and have a look at it, Scott.
Well, as you see right now, that Geoff Bodine has been working very, very well down low. Just got down to the inside of the number 22 of Sterling Marlin. Of course, that was happening just before we went away on break, but Sterling just keeps slamming the door on him. But I think one of these times, just coming up here, we've got a few laps here that we'll cover back while we were away on break. That, the 11 of Bodine, finally gets the bite he needs. Also, I believe, let's take a look here. The number 19 of Chad Little gets hung out to dry, and that's what happens. That the both of them drift up wide, Marlin and, of course, the number 19 of Chad Little. And we're coming up on that move here just shortly. Chad now drifting way out wide. Here's that move. They touched just a little bit. That's when Marlin had to back out of it. It was either that or go for a very long ride. They came tire to tire, and now he will try to move underneath Chad Little. He does. He gets his front wheel up underneath that rear quarter panel of Chad Little. Now he gets the bite off of turn number 2, and there he goes. He's got the lead. All the way from 21st spot up to the lead, and here comes Sterling Marlin. While Chad was hung out there to dry, could not come back down. Sterling says, okay, well, that's fine. I'll take that second spot away. As now the number 19 will fall back to third, and we saw back there the number 98 of Jim Bound moving right up along with him.
So the Junior Johnson race team running first and second as the Budweiser has made its way all the way from the number 21 spot and is out in front of his teammate right now, Sterling Marlin. And again, Chad Little, maybe his tire is going away here.
Well, it's about time where we should start seeing some pit stops coming up here fairly soon. We are a little over 90 laps into the race. The first group of tire changes have happened for some of the cars, and some have not made any pit stops yet. We'll be looking for that coming under green or yellow flag conditions. The way it's going today, it won't be long before we have another yellow flag. But who knows? Maybe we're done. Maybe we used up all our yellow flags and used them up early, and we'll have a lot of green flag racing. And now, once again, there he goes. He's taking off. He's putting everybody away as number 11 of Geoff Bodine. He's having fun out here today. He is just saying, hey, I came out to the Northwest. It's an absolute beautiful day. And what do I got to lose? I mean, this is not a Winston Cup race. I don't have points that I'm going for. I would like to win, of course. But, you know, let's just hang it out and have a good time. We see one of the cars pulling into the pit with a lot of smoke coming off of it. And we'll pick up that number for you as we'll go down the pit to find out who that was.
Well, nearly as quick as Geoff Bodine had made that move from 21 up to 1. He is now beginning to pull away from his teammate Sterling Marlin as he has opened up a sizable advantage and continues to reel in slower traffic out in front of him as he just continues to peel away the asphalt here on the 5/8 mile oval at the Evergreen Speedway and the Motorcraft 500.
Well, we see Ron Esau going down a lap. Again, this is not uncommon at this stage of the race to see some cars going down a lap early on. Usually what happens, though, is they come on a little bit stronger later on and get themselves on a lap. It's not very hard to do on a short track racing. And it's great to see Ron Esau back in a Winston West car. We missed him. He's been on and off again for the last couple of years. Used to be a regular competitor, and this year looks like he's got himself a good ride. And glad to have Ron Esau back here at Northwest.
So the Budweiser 4, of Geoff Bodine down the back chute and heading into turn number 3. Sterling Marlin has fallen a little bit off the pace. Of course, everybody else on the racetrack has compared to the Budweiser Ford, who is running very, very strong here in the early laps. Again, he qualified in the number 21 spot because of coming in just a little bit underweight on Friday. In fact, after they scaled him after qualifying with a track record time, found him to be about 25 pounds underweight. But the car today handling superbly here at the Evergreen Speedway.
Of course, Geoff argued that the scales were off, but it seemed like everybody else was plenty overweight and did not have a problem of coming in underweight. He was the only one. But that may have worked to his advantage here now. Think about this. He had a chance to go out and hot lap all day Thursday and again Friday before qualifying began. He got to go out and do his qualifying. Then he got to go out and do a second qualifying on Saturday while everybody else sat in the garage, except for those out the second day of qualifying. And that may have been the time where they really found the handles for this car and really got it dialed in.
Geoff Bodine again down the backstretch, and he'll come upon some slower traffic out on the racetrack. Sterling Marlin maybe making up a little bit of that distance here in the last couple of laps that he had lost to his teammate. As Bodine continues to operate in slow traffic out there as he puts another car a lap down. And that's the Jerry Bowers team out of Meridian, Idaho. And the NorCal Motorsports Ford Thunderbird, they qualified number 18, so they actually started 3 positions ahead of Geoff Bodine, but they're now a lap down on your leader.
And, of course, it's good to also see Jerry Bowers back over in the United States. He went over to Australia, and, of course, we'll talk a little bit about that as the afternoon progresses of what is happening with Winston West. Of course, that's becoming the international arm of NASCAR. Jerry's been over in Australia and just got back a few weeks back, ran at Sears Point in a Southwest Tour race, also ran in the Winston Cup race, I believe. I'm not sure if I recollect it properly. As now we do see that the number 11 of Geoff Bodine still leading. Now Jerry Bowers down at least 1 lap.
Geoff Bodine, the leader. Here on the Motorcraft 500, the Evergreen.
We got problems. We got trouble over in turn number 3. We got a car up against the wall, into the inside. A lot of smoke coming up. A car into the wall, out of turn number 3. The car number 88. Glenn Stewart.
Who's going to give you the great taste of summer? Dairy Queen. Like the original Blizzard flavor treat or the creamy, rich layers of a peanut buster parfait. Dairy Queen.
And get ready to order. Tonight only we have 100 Bill Elliott Motorcraft 500 autograph sets. That's right, only 100 Racing Champion replicas and Motorcraft 500 race video set will be sold. Don't miss your chance to own this Racing Champions collector's set. Call now, and we'll send you this Bill Elliott Motorcraft 500 collector set for only $69.95. Here's how to order. Call 1-800-541-0186. Use your Visa, MasterCard, or American Express.
Pit stops are now going to take place. Yellow flag has come out. Tim Brewer, pit crew chief for the number 11 Budweiser Ford, said, I hate to lose a pit stop war. As Bill Schmidt, he come into the pits at the same time. He said, I'm going to spot him 7 seconds. We'll see what happens right now. The right side goes up. And Tim Brewer, your front tire changer, crew chief this afternoon on the Budweiser Ford. There he goes. He is down. He is underway. Bill Schmidt still in the pits. What a stop by the number 11. Less than 12 seconds.
Well, Robert Sprague's team having a look underneath that race car. He has been blowing blue smoke all afternoon. He's been in trouble out there on the race course, even though he's been able to run up front with the lead cars. At times, he's been able to hold his own, but definitely having a problem. He's got an oil leak under there somewhere as they take it down back off the jacks, and they're going to send him back out on the 5/8 mile oval here at the Evergreen Speedway. Caution flag back out as we get set to go green here in just a moment. And after that last pit stop, it was going into the pit stop. Geoff Bodine was the leader going in, but coming out, his teammate Sterling Marlin has the lead.
Well, of course, Sterling Marlin has a better way to handle the pit road because he's on the front row, and of course, Geoff Bodine on the back road because of his later qualifying. Here we see Rick Scribner now as they were working on that car as the right side went up. We also see Jack Sellers' crew working on a rear tire of that automobile. There's our gas catcher, and that is a female. And he has a couple of them working on his team, and that's good to see. I like to see females working out here. Of course, Patty Moise, one of our drivers in the Busch Grand National Series that we see on television week after week. And I like females in auto racing. I think they can do just as good a job as the males.
By the way, that pit stop for Geoff Bodine, 11.116. He took on 20 gallons of fuel and right side tires and still had to settle for second place, coming back under the green behind Sterling Marlin. As we have the green flag and we're back in to racing here at the Motorcraft 500.
Well, of course, as you saw that Tim Brewer told me that he said, watch this. He said, I hate picking a competition as he's winking both eyes at me. And I'll tell you what, the crew turned it up a notch or two, 11.16, as they changed two tires until the thing flew together.
Rick McRae also having a tough afternoon early on this afternoon. He did have to go in the pit. They thought he was going to maybe have a tire cut down as he was involved in a little mishap. Had the right front side come up and rub the tire. They went in and pulled it back off the tire, but he continues to run on the lead lap this afternoon.
Well, there's part of Mike Chase's crew. They're just sitting back watching the race, and that is an unlucky break. First lap in, of course, our camera in that car. Well, maybe that was the unlucky omen for that gentleman this afternoon. As on the first lap, he got into it with Larry Gunkelman and a few other cars, and of course that car unable to come back out and take the green flag, and they put it away for the day. Sorry to say, but I believe he's going to lose his points, Chase lead coming into today's race. He was the leader, and I got a feeling that he's going to lose it before we go home here.
Sterling Marlin being hounded out there right now by Geoff Bodine in car number 11. As just a couple of car lengths separate those two as they go down the back chute and dive into turn number 3. And also right there is Bill Schmidt.
And, of course, Bill Schmidt running third right now on the field. This has been an unlucky race for him in the last couple of years. He's run very, very well, been up front as he is right now, and then had some mechanical problems. Maybe today's the day that he'll be able to put it away and take the win. But here he goes. Right now he moves up to the inside of number 11 of Geoff Bodine as they go into turn number 3.
Took a peek in there, but it is Sterling Marlin out in front. And again, had a little trouble in the 91 car earlier. We're going to go down and have a word with their crew chief.
We had a little oil leak on the front of the oil pump, and we did get it repaired, so we sent him back out. Hope that he can get that Ford Thunderbird out there and do a good job.
Yeah, well, if he wasn't blowing smoke this afternoon, he might be running right up front this afternoon, Scott.
Well, certainly would, but here we got a challenge for the lead. One more time, he gets both wheels down off the inside of turn number 4, and it was number 11 of Geoff Bodine. He's been running down there all afternoon long, and so far I'm surprised he has not cut down a tire by doing that, by hanging those tires right off the inside of that turn number 4. But once again, Sterling Marlin, he drifts up high, but able to close the door. I believe we got a yellow flag on the field. Everybody coming to a screeching halt as they come down the backstretch. Yellow flag comes out one more time.
And with Sterling Marlin, Geoff Bodine, and Bill Schmidt running 1, 2, 3 on the caution flag. As Marlin, again, able to hold his own on that outside groove. You talked about that a little bit earlier as far as the groove beginning to widen just a little bit as this race wears on.
It's becoming a 2-groove racetrack, as it usually does as the afternoon wears on. Of course, a little tougher to hold those cars down tight like they did early on. Most of them set themselves up. As we see, the pits are still closed this time by, as the pace car will pick them up. As you're listening and watching this on Prime Sports Northwest.
Big-time NASCAR racing hits the track.
August 2nd and 3rd at
the South Sound Speedway.
It's in Monroe, Washington, and Motorcraft 500. From the Evergreen Speedway, I'm Larry Miner along with Scott Ellsworth. As there are your top 5, Bill Sedgwick did not hit, so he comes out as your new leader.
Neither did Rick McRae or Ron Eaton. Geoff Bodine and Bill Schmidt did. Of course, they come out in 4th and 5th place. We see some cars now running up front that we have not seen. And now a new leader is Bill Sedgwick. Of course, Bill came into this afternoon's race 3rd in points. He's last year's champion of the Winston Racing Series as he took it away from Bill Schmidt at Phoenix, Arizona, and won by 1 point. Of course, that is a Winston Cup race at the Phoenix Mile in the Checker 500. Of course, it's got a new name for it this season. But there was a race within a race, as we had a Winston Cup race and we had also a Winston West race going on, and that battle between Bill Schmidt and Bill Sedgwick was phenomenal as the afternoon progressed along. As now we do see the number 75 of Bill Sedgwick in the Spears Automotive car takes off down the backstretch one more time. It's good to see this gentleman up front. And Bill Sedgwick coming up from California to join us here and try to take the points lead away from Mike Chase, and he may be able to do it here this afternoon.
Well, when they introduced Herschel McGriff this afternoon, as is the case anywhere you go up and down the Pacific Coast, Herschel McGriff got a standing O today from all of the fans. Very typical of everywhere he goes. He's had a tough day today, having some transmission problems, and as I understand, Mike Chase has loaned some parts to Herschel McGriff to get his car running, and he is back in the race with many laps down on your leaders.
That he is, and it was a transmission along with an axle problem. And not only did they borrow some parts off of Mike Chase's car, but they also borrowed some, believe this or not, off of Bill Schmidt's backup car. It started on with Mr. Kennedy that was at the back of the field. We didn't even know they went around 1 lap and parked that car. All they wanted to do was collect a little mud.
Now Bodine going to the inside of Rick McRae in the 08 as McRae will drop back to position number 3. Again, remember, he and Sedgwick did not hit a moment ago. Everybody else on that lead lap did. And now the Bodine vehicle has moved back up into number 2. The Ford Thunderbird now looking up to the number 1 car of Bill Sedgwick. Sedgwick, last year's 1990 Motorcraft 500 winner here at Evergreen.
Well, Bodine now has the sights set on him, and I believe it won't take very long before he closes up. As you mentioned, neither one of those, Sedgwick or McRae, went in for pit stop this time by. And, of course, Bodine did, and he's on fresh right-side tires. Of course, this track noted for eating up tires as the day progresses along here. It's pretty much a flat bank. As you can see, there's a little bit of banking over here in turn number 3 and 4, and a little bit over in 1 and 2. It's not actually a flat track, but pretty close to it. And with the high speed that they build up down the 2 long front and back stretches here, that they really scrub off a lot of rubber in those turns, as you really see now, that view there just a moment ago, as you can really see the racing groove darkening up as the evening progresses.
So it is Bill Sedgwick now being hounded by the 11 of Geoff Bodine again. Remember, Bodine started all the way back number 21, takes a look to the inside of Sedgwick, takes a wheel down in the dirt again, and is unable to reel him in there as Sedgwick has his car hooked up pretty well right now himself. As again, Bodine will take a look to the inside. That time will stay above the white line and will have to settle for a draft behind your leader, Bill Sedgwick.
Well, take a look at it. Is he going to turn number 3, now setting up for turn number 4? Does he get a wheel off again this time down? No, he drifts up the banking, and I believe he now is going to take that lead away from Sedgwick, as Sedgwick had to back out of it because he almost got up in the marbles as number 11 of Geoff Bodine drifted up high on the banking out of turn number 1. I'll tell you what, Geoff Bodine has that car just going anywhere at any time that he wants it to go. And he's making that track a little wider. And he's not making it wider going out, drifting out wide. He's making it wider, drifting down low. Out of turn number 4, we may have a big hole here by the end of the afternoon if he doesn't keep dropping his wheel off, as you just saw right there. Right down on the white line. Didn't get it over the banking that time. But each time by previous to that, he has dropped that wheel.
So after getting by Bill Sedgwick not fading away by very much, as he will remain in the hunt. He is down right now by a car length and a half on your leader, Geoff Bodine out of New York. Now he opens it up a little bit as he begins to pull away again, as he did earlier once taking the lead.
And Geoff Bodine, as I mentioned earlier, you just said out of Chemung, New York. I got a chance to watch this guy when he was a young man, and I was too, thank goodness. driving modifieds, the East Coast modifieds. We don't see those cars out here. Of course, they run on a regular basis back east. NASCAR East Coast modifieds. I'll tell you what, I want to talk about some cars that go fast. They're basically open-wheel rockets.
Budweiser Ford is hooked up for Geoff Bodine. Bill Sedgwick running back in the number 2 position. As we're in sunny Monroe, Washington for the Motorcraft 500 right here on Pride Sports Northwest.
We all know how much fun playing the guitar can be, but until now, learning meant months.
Tonight only we have 100 Bill Elliott Motorcraft 500 autograph sets. That's right, only one.
Back here in Monroe, Washington for the Motorcraft 500. Your leader, Geoff Bodine, and the top 5. Jimmy Bound rounding out that top 5. Sterling Marlin, Bill Schmidt, and Bill Sedgwick all wrapped in between there. As this is about the 3rd or 4th time that Bodine has had to make a move on somebody up front.
And we see a problem on turn number 3. I'm sorry to interrupt you there, but we see that Chad Little is barely moving coming out of turn number 4, diving into the pits. Well, he's not diving. He's barely rolling. He has shut the power off on the number 19. What a break. The number 19, a problem. Chad Little, 3-time winner. It does not look like it will be a 4-time winner.
He rolls down to the pit. The crew comes over, has a look inside, and they'll discuss things down there and try to get Chad back out on the racetrack if they can here to try to win maybe his 4th. Oh, this does not look good. And they're going to take this one and push it down to the end of pit row, it looks like, Scott.
Well, it didn't take very long to do that and make that determination. We did see some terminal smoke coming out the side of it as we see the crew now talking to Chad, and Chad unbuckling the helmet. Hood is up. They are looking for the problem. Nobody seems to be rushing around very, very fast on the Red Baron Pizza Ford Thunderbird, and that's too bad. Gentlemen from Spokane, Washington, a real favorite here at Evergreen Speedway. Of course, he's won this race 3 times.
Well, we're here with Chad Little, 3-time winner of this event. Chad, an unlucky break here this afternoon.
Well, what can you say, right? Racing, so Red Baron Pizza Ford Thunderbird's running pretty good, actually. We led, I think, about the first 100 laps, and the car got a little tight, so we were playing a little bit, trying different stagger and took some wedge out of it a little bit just to see what felt the best, kind of planning for later stages in the race. And all of a sudden the motor let go, so it's part of racing. We'll learn from it and be back next year.
For the rest of the cars that are out there, Chad, I mean, it looks like you're awfully warm yourself. You're now taking a drink, and the tire wear seems to be pretty good, though, but the driver wear, how's that going to be today?
It's not bad out there. No, it's not bad.
Track getting slick?
Oh, track's awful. 20 laps, you're just sliding everywhere, but everybody's in the same boat, so, it's just a matter of, I think really the smart ones are going to be the last 100 laps, if it goes the distance for green, say 75 or 100 laps, the best thing to do would be just to run off the pace for 50 laps and then have some tires left for the last 25. But, the way the race has gone so far, there's a caution every 25 laps, so it doesn't make that much difference, maybe.
3-time winner, it won't be 4 in the Red Baron Ford Thunderbird. Chad Little, he'll be back next season.
Problem while we were gone, a major accident on the backstretch that involved Ron Horn today. You see the crew right there now taking the parts off that automobile, trying to see if they can get it back going. Also involved the number 22 of Sterling Marlin. They are working on that front end of that automobile feverishly as they're banging on the sheet metal. We'll take a look at that accident here in just a few moments as we'll get a replay tape going here. Again, they are trying to get Sterling Marlin back out. He came in with a flat tire. Here's the replay, and here we set up with Bodine on the inside on this restart with Bill Schmidt on the outside. And we saw Jerry Bauer sitting there on the backstretch going the wrong way. We see another car there, and that is Rick McRae. He gets up into the marbles, and he gets going the wrong way. We see Sterling Marlin now coming out of turn number 4. A lot of smoke coming off the right side of that automobile. He's cut down a tire, and he will limp back on into the pits. A problem with Sterling Marlin as he goes into the pits. Hopefully they'll be able to get that problem fixed. Definitely right front tire gone down and some sheet metal damage. Also, Ron Hornaday that was involved in that. We see him coming back up out of the graft. And a lot of front end damage to that car. It may be just superficial, though, and we do see some smoke coming off of that. Oh, Sterling Marlin out of the race. He is pulling up behind the wall.
So a couple of the Winston Cup drivers having problems here midway through this Motorcraft 500 as they pit stop back out. As you see Geoff Bodine just getting out in front, but here's Sterling Marlin. It's been a short or long afternoon, depending on how you look at it.
It's been a rough year for that gentleman, as, of course, started off the season with a problem in that accident with the fire. And here we see Bill Schmidt. A lot of smoke coming off the backside of that car. He's going to bring it into the pits this time by. He happened to have a little mishap earlier on while we were at break and got into the rear of another car. The yellow flag did not come out, but there was some damage. They had to put a lot of tape over the front end to keep the hood and everything on, and I think it's taken its toll here as it really has cut off the airflow to that engine. As we do see an overheating problem, the hood goes up on that car. They're bringing out some bottles to put out a fire, but I don't believe he has a fire. I believe he just got a very hot engine.
Well, so tough luck for Schmidt as the crew taking a good look at that race car. Hopefully he can re-enter, as we might be anticipating a lot of people pulling into the pit under this caution as they get set to go over the wall.
And let's watch and listen as they all make a pit stop.
Front end screwed up earlier. We're playing around tire stagger. Car's starting to run pretty good now. 3 laps down, and where the cars are falling out, hard down. Trying hard to get.
Yeah, but down there got to be
That was crew chief and crew for Bill Elliott. 3 laps down, trying to come back.
Go ahead. Pick your day. This summer on Prime Sports Northwest, it's your kind of action every day of the week.
Looking to go green, Geoff Bodine, your leader, car number 11, the Budweiser Ford Thunderbird, back underway with Jimmy Bound and the 98 car giving chase.
And that is Herschel McGriff trying to get himself unwound from his many laps being down. Of course, he had an axle problem early on. He'll drift back into the field. He's just out there right now trying to gather up some points so he can maintain his top 10 point standing. Meantime, your leader, Geoff Bodine, going down the front stretch one more time. Seems to be the class in the field so far. Right behind him, though, is the number 98 of Jimmy Bound. Jimmy Bound moves right up on the tail as they go down the backstretch.
Geoff Bodine has led the majority of the races of the laps here at today's Motorcraft 500 at the Evergreen Speedway. And today's coverage on Prime Sports Northwest. Jimmy Bound, as you mentioned, running back in that number 2 position. A guy that has been kind of relatively quiet today. Bill Sedgwick remains out there and running right now up in the number 3 position. He has really not run with the leaders all that much today, but he has been very consistent.
Well, he had some problems, of course, from that earlier mishap where everybody got into it down the backstretch. Being everybody got into it, of course, that would be Sterling Marlin. He got into the rear of Sterling Marlin. It's an interesting story here because he came in, they made some tire changes, went back out, and said, boy, this thing's not handling right. When I bring it back in this next time, I want you to take 2 wedges out of the right rear and put 2 turns into the left rear. Went back out and said, guys, guess what? This thing's handling better than it has all day long. And I'll tell you where that came from. That has come from his East Coast experience for the last 2 years going back there, running Busch Grand National and Winston Cup. He has learned how to set up a car from the driver's seat.
That is absolutely brilliant, to be able to pull into the pit and tell the crew how the car is handling, be able to take 2 screws out, put 1 in, and or rather 2 turns in, and be able to bring this car back out after it looked like bad luck was on the side of the bound race tape. But he's right back out there now, giving it a go with Geoff Bodine, a Winston Cup driver, showing the way in car number 11.
Of course, the car number 75 is your third-place car. That is Bill Sedgwick. And we had a chance to talk with Bill Sedgwick yesterday afternoon in the garage prior to today's race.
This is a big race for you, not only for money and, of course, competing with some of the Winston Cup stars, but also this is a big Winston West race.
Yeah, it is the biggest one we run out here, and I'm glad to be here. And the car's a little bit off, this year, and we're trying to get it together. We're catching up a little bit and see what we can do.
Where did you qualify for tomorrow's race?
We'll be 5th.
Well, that's a pretty good qualifying spot right up there with the big boys. Of course, weather conditions are changing drastically. Is that going to be in your favor or not?
That's hard to say. We think it'll be in our favor because of the tires. It won't be as hard on the tires. Hopefully, the sun's supposed to come out later on tomorrow afternoon. We'll just have to see what happens from there.
How many pit stops will we be looking at from the Sedgwick team tomorrow?
It's really hard to tell. It depends on how many yellows we have. You could go anywhere from 6 to 8. It's hard to say, really. Anytime there's an opportunity to put fresh rubber on, that's probably what we're going to be doing.
Fuel, not really a question here, but tires. This is a rough track for tires.
Right. Tires are a big factor here.
Due to the fact the long straightaways and the very short radius turns, or because of a lot of debris that sometimes gets kicked up on the track?
Well, debris, you have to watch out for flats. I got a flat last year, and we had a heck of a time making that up, but there's debris, and you do get flat tires. The straightaways are long enough to get you really rolling, and there's not a lot of bank in the corner, so you end up scrubbing a lot of speed off, off the tires, so it's tough on the tires.
So Bill Sedgwick trying to defend the Motorcraft 500 crown that he won right here a year ago at the Evergreen Speedway in Monroe. Your leader continues to be Geoff Bodine in car number 11, Jimmy Bound at the 98, and last year's champion at the Motorcraft 500, Bill Sedgwick. Our coverage will continue in a moment right here on Prime Sports Northwest.
He needed right now. He had a lot of time on those right side tires. You can see him putting that right side up. They'll change tires. They'll put fuel in. We'll see. Now we'll talk to their pit crew chief and see if he can go all the way. The other question will be Jimmy Bound, who just got out behind Bill Sedgwick. He'll fall back to 3rd spot. What a battle we're going to have. We're going to have a shootout to the wire with Geoff Bodine, Bill Sedgwick, and Jimmy Bound.
We're just out here trying to have a good time, win a race, They're in it for the money. We're in it for the fun, so we got the advantage.
Tim Brewer, crew chief for the Budweiser Ford, Geoff Bodine.
So the laps keep winding down here for the Motorcraft 500 and the caution flag out. The reason for the caution flag, Scott?
Well, of course, on this restart that we're getting ready to see right here, and there it is. Bill Elliott and Jack Sellers got into it over into turn number 1. Major damage to the front end of the Bill Elliott machine. We see him walking on back to the pits. Now we go back to live action here. Your leader is still Geoff Bodine, followed by Jim Bound and Bill Sedgwick. They're all still on the same lap as we head into the final stages of this race.
So it's been kind of a tough road to hoe here at the Motorcraft 500 for Bill Elliott over the past few years.
Boy, it sure has. And, of course, this is another one ending abruptly here this afternoon. He's been chasing it all afternoon long. Had quite a few tires go down as we saw him come in and out of the pits quite a bit here. Got 3 laps down. Was trying to make up one of those laps right here, and he and Jack Sellers got together, and consequently both of them out of the race.
So Elliott and Sellers again coming together up there in turn 3 and 4 is your leader right there, the Ford Thunderbird, the Geoff Bodine, the Budweiser car.
He's been there in the lead for a long, long time now. Of course, the number 98 of Jimmy Bound right on his tail, challenging for the lead. Not quite able to do it, though, and I think he's just still kind of biding his time a little bit here. Just laying back, saying, hey, I'm going to wait for the last 50 laps here, and that's when I'll put the pedal to the metal and see if Mr. Bodine and I can run door handle to door handle and say one of us is going to take that checkered flag.
Well, to be this close, really a lot of laps remaining, as Elliott out on lap 422, so really still quite a ways to go here in the Motorcraft 500. Right there you see the Budweiser Ford leading Jimmy Bound down the backstretch into turn 3 and out of turn number 4.
Bill Sedgwick, your third-place car, who is still on the lead lap, unable to keep up with your two leaders right now as they have been able to pull away, just like they have most of the afternoon.
Here comes your leaders. That is Geoff Bodine in the Budweiser Thunderbird. Jim Bound out of Portland, Oregon, running out of that number 2 spot. And Bill Elliott out of the race a little bit earlier. We now have a chance to talk to him.
Here with Bill Elliott. Bill, what happened? Well, I really don't know. The 44 car just spun right there on me going in the corner. When it did, it just turned me straight in the wall. You know, I just kind of one of them days.
Geoff Bodine, the Thunderbird, the Budweiser for Thunderbird. Jim Bound giving chase. And again, Bill Sedgwick, as we have only a couple of cars, or rather 3 cars, coming up here on the lead lap. Number 11 has led the majority of laps this afternoon in this, the 1991 Motorcraft 500 at Evergreen Speedway.
And we understand now, we're getting a report from the wholesale truck parts pit that a vibration has developed on the front of the number 98 Jimmy Bound automobile. He may have a tire going down. We'll keep an eye on this situation as it develops. Going down the backstretch he goes. He has fallen back quite a ways from Bodine, and now he's heading down the backstretch right now. We believe he's coming into the pits right now, and we'll go down and take a look.
Now coming in, Jimmy Bound, 440 laps down, only 60 to go. Left front tire has completely gone down, as you can see over my right shoulder. Jimmy Bound, an unlucky break. He'll fall back to 3rd place. He's trying not to go down a lap. We'll look for the leaders. They say, "I'll come out of turn number 4. Here they come. He's going to come out right behind Bodine. He's going to go down 1 lap to the leader.
So Bodine able to get back across start-finish line and beyond the pit exit before Jim Bound could get back out there. So now Jim Bound is a lap down on your leader, Geoff Bodine, and Bill Sedgwick, the only other car right now on the lead lap. He's about a half a lap down on Bodine.
Jimmy Bound definitely needs to now get by the number 11 of Bodine and put himself back on the lead lap. And he has to go all the way around the racetrack, 5/8 of a mile, and get back up behind Bodine in order to make this a race here this afternoon. A yellow flag would help very, very much at this point, and he needs to get caught back up with the number 11. He should be here fairly soon, as of course we saw left side tires being changed. It hasn't been too many laps before they changed from right side tires. A problem with the number 98, the tire going down, and it caused some problems. Well, we're setting up for the same kind of shooting match at the end that we had last season here at the Motorcraft 500, and of course that was Bill Sedgwick, the winner. And following him across the line was Bill Elliott, and behind him was Bill Schmidt. All 3 of them were running together with very few laps to go. And what happened, that was prior to the new wall that we now have over turn 3 and 4. It was open out there, and one of the cars went off the racing surface, raised some dust, and it set up this big cloud in the middle of turn number 3. Well, Bill Elliott, who had been leading most of the afternoon, backed out of it. Well, Bill Sedgwick didn't, and he went on by, and of course we were calling it the Bill show last year because of course it was Bill Sedgwick, Bill Elliott, and Bill Schmidt. That's how they finished, came across the line last year, and we're setting up for that here this year.
And if things stay the same way they are right now, we're going to have a Bill figure into the outcome of this final race. Bill Sedgwick, the 1990 Motorcraft 500 winner, right now about a half a lap down on your leader, Geoff Bodine, and trying to unlap himself will be Jim Bound of Portland, Oregon. And you know a lot of people up here in the Northwest are hoping that happens.
Well, of course, a lot of the people here that are here today remember the last time that Jimmy Bound was here at the Motorcraft 500. A restart going down the front stretch, got into the wall up in turn number 1. When he got pinched up there, the wall broke. I mean, that's how hard he hit. And when the wall broke, leaned back, he got airborne, did a couple of barrel rolls, came down on the top, up in the air again, came back down on all 4 this time, But I'll tell you what, I was not a broadcaster at that time for this race, and I could not believe what I was seeing. This roof had absolutely, totally collapsed, and everybody was just up there in the audience and just held their breath. It just looked really bad. And all of a sudden, you could see this movement from inside the car, and this body started to climb out this unbelievably small opening, and here came Jimmy Bound, and the crowd just went nuts. So he has become a real crowd favorite there. Of course, he's a Northwesterner. Now we see Jimmy Bound challenging, trying to get his lap back as he is caught up right up to the rear of the number 11 of Geoff Bodine.
And Geoff Bodine will try to hold him off here. Again, a caution flag, if Bound can get by, is really what the doctor would order here. As Bodine still trying to hold off Jim Bound of Portland, Oregon, in the wholesale truck part Chevrolet Lumina.
Of course, Johnny Keeper, the owner of that car, many-time driver in the Busch, or make that the Grand National Series, is what they used to call this before it became Winston West. And he knew how to turn that number 98 Chevrolet around this race course, and it's great to see Johnny back here, of course, as a car owner. And he and Bound had teamed up a few years back and did very, very well, and it looks like they're going to do real well here again today, as once again he looks to the inside trying to get by that number 11. Now he's going to take a look to the outside. That's going to be the hard way, right around the outside. He gets up to the side, gets up to the rear corner panel. He gets up door handle to door handle. That's a tough way around, but boy, does he have that car working now. There he goes. He is unlapped. Where's that yellow flag?
Oh, he needs a yellow flag now in a worse way, and what great racing action we have that time down.
And that is Mrs. Keeper and Johnny's daughter, both very, very excited. That's Rich Keeper, the crew chief. Boy, they are excited in the Bound pit. And I'll tell you what an afternoon they are having here. This is one of their better finishes, even if they finish right here, but it's not over. We could still have a shootout to the win.
It's going to be very exciting to see what happens here. As many caution flags as we had early on in this one. If we get another one right now, that's going to put Jimmy Bound right up behind your leader, Geoff Bodine, right up there on the front. And remember, Bound has some fresh tires.
Of course, those were left side tires, not right side tires, but of course they are fresher on the inside, and he seems to be moving out very well. He is starting to pull away from the number 11 of Bodine, but again, he has to go all the way back around the race surface. Not a whole lot of laps left here, and I'm not sure if he's got enough time to get back around, even though right now he has all the power and a lot more power than the number 11 of Bodine, although Bodine could also be laying back a little bit here and saving his tires, but I don't believe so. Remember what I was telling you about Portland a few weeks back, where this guy unwound himself from 2 laps down twice, so I think he's doing it again right here.
And he is pulling away from Bodine right now, but a caution flag is what the doctor would order right here for the Bound family. So 3 cars remain on the lead lap here at the Motorcraft 500 at the Evergreen Speedway in Monroe. Geoff Bodine in the Budweiser Ford, car number 11, your leader. Bill Sedgwick on the lead lap, as is Jim Bound in the 98 car, as he unlapped himself just a few moments ago from Portland, Oregon. And looking at the 4th position car, John Pax of Albuquerque, New Mexico, in the Redline Oil Pontiac. And rounding out the top 5 is Billy Jack Shaw of Minden, Nevada.
Only 29 laps to go. Jimmy Bound hanging on to that second spot, needs a yellow flag. He is on the tail end of the lead lap. Needs to get caught back up with the leader, Geoff Bodine. They're praying for a yellow flag.
And Bill Sedgwick trying to hold it together for the remaining laps here in Motorcraft 500. Right now, he's about 3/4 of a lap behind the leader. Again, that is Geoff Bodine. And in second place is Bill Sedgwick, followed by Jim Bound, who just unwound just a moment ago after passing Bodine several laps back. This is the Motorcraft 500 from the Evergreen Speedway in Monroe.
Big-time NASCAR racing hits the track. August 2nd and 3rd at
the South Sound Speedway.
Escartburg, Allman Motors, and Bud Light present
the Allman Motors 200 NASCAR.
Back here at the Motorcraft 500 at the Evergreen Speedway in Monroe. I'm Larry Miner along with Scott Ellsworth, and Scott, time may be running out on Jimmy Bound and Bill Sedgwick.
The laps are starting to go away. Jimmy Bound now is out in front of the number 11 of Geoff Bodine. He is trying to take, get out there and get it on, but right now, from what we understand, that they have told him in the bound pit to back off a little bit, stay on the lead lap, but cool it. Let's finish second. It's better than not finishing at all. And now we see a pass. Possibly we're only going to finish with 2 cars on the lead lap. Right now, the number 75 of Bill Sedgwick going down a lap here later. Boy, has this guy done it all day long. That car is handled just like a dream, as you see right now, way down low, this late in the race, right on the bottom of the racing surface, just like he has done all day long. He has put that wheel off on that turn number 4. It's worked real well for him. As now Bill Sedgwick has gone down a lap to the leader. Only 2 cars left on the lead lap, and one of those cars almost ready to go down a lap himself would be Jimmy Bound.
So Bound about 3/4 of a lap behind your lead car, Geoff Bodine, and you said it, Scott, he has been handling this way all day long. He started back in the number 21 position, and he reeled in a bunch of cars after all those early caution flags here at the Evergreen Speedway in Monroe. And he has just continued to hug the low groove around that race course, oftentimes taking a wheel down inside the dirt to do some passing, and he got Sedgwick right there.
And, of course, Jimmy Bound now trying to get back and get up behind Bodine. Not able to do it right now. Remember, we talked a little bit about Dick Bound a little earlier on. Well, we had a chance to talk to him yesterday afternoon. We are standing here with Dick Bound, of course, from Portland, Oregon. He ran Grand National for a long, long time. Now he's got 2 of his younger fledglings now competing in stock car racing. One, of course, being Chuck Bound, the Busch Grand National champion for last season, and is back east right now. As a matter of fact, he qualified here today at Loudon, New Hampshire, and they'll be running tomorrow at the same time that we'll be here for the Motorcraft 500. But you got young Jimmy. He's running the Johnny Keeper Wholesale Truck Parts Chevrolet tomorrow.
That's right. He's coming along real good, too. Doing a great job. As soon as this is over with, we're going to fly back, and Jimmy will run my Busch car against Chuck at South Boston, Virginia. So he's starting to get back there and get a little running in.
Of course, you're going back there, and you've been helping Jimmy pit crewing, or I should say crew chiefing that automobile this season. That's a step up for you also from coming from the West Coast and going back there with the big boys on the East.
Oh, yeah. I've been back there several times throughout my career, and I really enjoy it. I mean, racing is really great back there. It's good out here, too, but there's so much more of it back there.
Well, Dick, do you miss getting behind the wheel of one of these stock cars at this time?
No, not really. I know where where I stand there. The boys are better than me, and let's face it, just we'll let them do it.
Of course, when you were running, there were 100 lappers, 200 lappers was probably the largest race. 500 lapper here on the 5/8 mile. That's quite a long way.
Oh, yeah, that takes a pretty tough person, and they're going to know they've been in a race by the time they get over with it.
How many pit stops will we be looking for from the Keeper team tomorrow?
I would guess we'll probably pit 8 times.
Tire selection important?
Yeah, that's the biggest reason for pitting. I mean, you only need to pit about 4 times for fuel, but we'll probably pit at least 8 times to keep the right tires on it.
Dick Bound, father of Jimmy Bound and Chuck Bound.
Geoff Bodine, your leader here at the Motorcraft 500. The laps keep clicking away as we're about 5 hours into this race. We began at 1:30 this afternoon, and it's been a hot afternoon. We've had some great racing. But again, the laps beginning to click away a little bit on Jim Bound and last year's Motorcraft 500 winner, Bill Sedgwick.
Well, it's almost too late. And guess what? I just received some unbelievable news. You got to listen to this now. Of course, we've been talking about Chuck Bound, who runs on the Busch Grand National Series on a regular basis. But we just got informed by NASCAR officials. Of course, they ran in Loudon, New Hampshire today at that new track up there in the Busch Grand National Series. And guess who finished second? Chuck Bound. Guess who earned over $20,000? Chuck Bound. Guess what's going on here? Guess who's second?
And guess who's going to maybe win $20,000 or more?
I tell you what, they got both sides of the country covered here. The Baum family is going to be very, very rich after this race is over.
And who knows, if a caution flag comes out here, Jimmy Baum could end up winning this thing and taking home the first place prize of $50,000. Of course, the Safeway Midway purse going to Geoff Bodine as he led at the 250-mile mark. We're nearing the final laps here in the Motorcraft 500 as Bodine has a sizable advantage over Jim Baum.
Well, and he doesn't have enough time. The white flag has come out for Bodine from Chemung, New York, and he has got a half a lap to go, and he's going to go home with over $50,000 in prize money here this afternoon as he heads through turn number 4. Heading down the front stretch one more time. The crowd on their feet. Look at him as he comes across the line. The Motorcraft 500 winner this year for 1991 is Geoff Bodine. Coming across second will be Jimmy Baum. Third will be Bill Sedgwick. Stay tuned to Prime Sports Northwest. We're going to come back with the victory. And the victory celebration has begun down here in Victory Circle. Geoff Bodine on the roof. He is a very happy camper right now. It's been a long time since he's come home a winner as he'll take off that chest protection. And boy, I'll tell you what, this gentleman really did a phenomenal job here today. But it looks like we've got an awful lot of people that want to talk to him right away. So why don't we slide on over and talk to second place finisher Jimmy Baum.
Jimmy finished second. Tough run. What happened early on there with only a few laps to go? You cut down a tire?
Yeah, we got a flat under the green. We finally got the car just right. When Sterling blew a tire and hit the wall, we got a little bit of suspension damage and stuff, but the guys did a good job changing the tire stagger and stuff to allow for it. And we still had a chance at Jackson Weight, and it was messed up, but it was right at the same time, so I learned to drive it, and I thought, we got a chance. And about that time is when I get a flat tire. Every time I'm in a chance to win a race, and I start thinking, maybe we can win this thing, something always happens. So I got to stop thinking while I'm driving.
Of course, did you know that you needed that yellow flag?
Well, yeah, I didn't get one, though. Even if I got that yellow flag, though, Bodine was playing with us most of the day, and it took me all day to get my car as fast as his. He'd have been tough to beat. He's a terrific short track driver, and it was fun to race with him. I just wish that last pass would have been for the win instead of a lap back.
Thanks, Jimmy. A great run.
Thank you, man.
Worth it. Good job. Doing it. Are they going to do that deck up there? Geoff, got just a second. Here with Geoff Bodine, winner of the Motorcraft 500. Geoff, come all the way out from back east out here and seem to be playing with the guys all day.
Oh, no, don't say that now. It might have looked that way, but I was working all day. The Budweiser car just worked flawlessly all day long. We came from 21st to 1st, and everything just kept going our way. I missed a few accidents. That was good, but Jim Baum there at the end was running awful good. If Ed had a flat, who knows? But Budweiser Thunderbird came to Victor Lane. That's what we came here for. Defending champ. Now we got to come back, right?
That's the next question. Will you be back next year?
Gotta be. We love it here.
Geoff Bodine, winner of the Motorcraft 500.
I got to check up here for 2,500. Believe me, the halfway mark. Huh? Thank you.
500 laps later, we finally have a winner of the 1991 Motorcraft 500. And coming all the way from the East Coast, Chemung, New York, to be exact, Geoff Bodine in the Budweiser Ford Thunderbird. Led from basically the start of the race to the finish of the race. A great valiant effort for second spot with Jimmy Baum. Cut down a tire with very few laps to go. Got himself unwound. Got back on the lead lap. Got by Bill Sedgwick, who, by the way, finishes third. Jimmy Baum just ran out of time and out of real estate as the checkered flag came out, unable to get the win away from the number 11. The Budweiser Ford Thunderbird, once again, the winner from Chemung, New York, Geoff Bodine.